All right, good evening. Please let me know if you can hear me. Hello, I see three people online. Can you hear me, please? You can mute your mic to say it or type in the chat box so that I will know you can hear me. Hello, am I audible? Please let me know if I'm audible. Hello. Okay, thank you, Sam. My name is Jumoke. Thank you. My name is Jumoke, and you are welcome to Okin Values YouTube Live. I'm the managing partner of Okin Value. I wrote an exam last week, Tuesday, ACP, and at the exam center, I got into conversation with I wrote it at Total House. I got in conversation with the people managing the exam center, and I was asked who are those who authorizes institution to train, and I said it's PMI, and it was like he's worried because it looks like the training doesn't match the expectations of people when they come to write the exam. And so it's like they've had a classroom training, but then they are not equipped to write the exam. And I asked why. And this, he was informed based on the outcome of exams. When people write the exam, most fail. And, based on the feedback, he felt we were not I'm saying we because I also train. We're not providing enough training or guidance to the people we are training, and so that was what birthed this live. Because I wanted to use the opportunity to buttress or reiterate some points or point those who are writing the exam into an angle that would help in preparing for the exam. So the what I put out there was how to pass your PMI certification exam. But this evening the focus will be on PMP. And I've made some notes, so I'll be looking at my screen. I will start from the assumption that you have not started the process. This you are coming here to get information to start the process, and so preparing for the project, the PMP exam involves a combination of different things: education, study, and practice, because it's a structured exam. So I would attempt to present this to you to help in the journey if you are starting the journey. The first thing you need to know is to understand the exam, the format, and its content. The exam, the format of the exam, and the content of the exam. The exam is structured in a way that you are going to write 180 multiple choice questions. 180. Before 2nd January 2021, the number of questions were 200, and then the time was 4 hours. That's 240 minutes. But from 2nd January 2021, the exam changed. It was reduced from 200 to 180 questions. 180 questions. And then the time is now 230 minutes. It means 4 hours less 10 minutes. 180 questions, 2 30 minutes. And the questions, they are a mix of multiple choice, multiple responses. Sometimes the multiple choice, you have the four options to select one. Sometimes out of the four options, your response would have to be multiple responses. Maybe they say pick two or three, or matching hotspots. They will write some descriptions on the left and then some descriptions on the right, and they will say match the correct ones. And then you have hotspots. There could be diagram or a graph, and then we ask question, and you will deduce the answer from the image. Okay, and then you have fill in the blank. They will write some sentence, and then they will leave some blank, and they will ask you to fill the blank. So these are the formats of the exam. The content of the exam is based on the PMI talent triangle. You have the people, you have process, and then you have business environment. Business environment appears as business acumen on the talent triangle, and then you have your ways of working, which is process, and then you have a power skills, which is people. uh, pa- some people call the power skills soft skills, but they are so powerful that if you're able to master them, it will make you a good project manager. So you have the exam is based on people, process, and business environment, which wasn't this before. Previously, the exam was based on processes. That's why you had 48 or 49 processes. You have input, output, tools, and techniques. Now, the exam doesn't look at input, tools, and techniques and outputs. No, the format of the exam is different. It's based on one people. People will constitute 42% of the exam, and process, which is likened to the technical aspect of project management, will be would constitute 50% of the exam. Then business environment, which is connecting projects with the organizational strategy. I don't know if we have all heard of project economy, where we say that organization achieve um, the reason for existence, the value, through execution of projects. So it means project answers to the strategy of the organization. So now PMI expects you to understand and know the strategy of your organization. And that would be 8% of the exam. So people will be 42%, process will be 50% of the exam, and then business environment will be 8% of the exam. So now I have explained the exam, the format, and the content of PMP. I'm going to talk about eligibility requirements. I have received calls or WhatsApp chats where people want to know, I'm not a graduate, can I write PMP? Or I have a PhD, would I be exempted from? When you go to school, sometimes if you have certain qualification, you may be exempted from going through maybe the first year or 100 level. It is not like that with PMP. So let me take for someone that doesn't have a degree. Let's say you have OND or HND. What can you write PMP? Yes, you can write PMP. What will be required of you? One, you have to sit in a class that would introduce you to PMP. We call it 35 contact hour training. That is where the training institutions come in. Then the second requirement is that you must have at least 5 years of project management work experience. Sometimes when you read it on the PMI's website, it says you must have led. So people assume that you have to be the project manager of projects. No, you can be a team member, but then you must be assigned task, project management related task on project, because you are going to prove that you have project management work experience. And what I do for my students is that I come up with a template, and with the template, I have given some narrative on how to capture their project management work experience. Once they are done, they send it to me. I look at it and I help structure their experience once it is project management related. And this too, the proof that you have been introduced to PMP, the 35 contact hour training, and your project management work experience would be submitted to PMI online at pmi.org. You click certification, then you select PMP, you click on apply and provide these two information. That is for someone without a PMP, without a degree. If you have a degree, the difference is that instead of providing 5 years or 60 months project management work experience, you will be providing 3 years or 36 months project management work experience. You will still have to do the 35 contact hour training. And then you too will have to go to pmi.org and apply. You click on pmi.org, you click on certification, you select PMP, and then you click on apply and provide this information. The portal would automatically calculate the number of months because you will indicate the duration, like how long the period was, and then the portal will calculate the duration for you. So with these two requirements, it will make you eligible to write PMP. So now I have explained what the exam is. I have also explained the content and the format of the exam, and we just explained the eligibility requirement of PMP. What do you need to study to write the PMP? You need to study PMBOK, but note of caution. When you pick the PMBOK edition now, the focus of SIP edition is on predictive, because that was all we knew when the SIP edition was published. So when you look at integration, you look at stakeholder engagement, you look at scope planning, budget. We have procurement there. We don't have procurement now. We have procurement under resources now. Everything is looking at predictive. What is predictive? Predictive is the life cycle approach to a project that is based on plan. It is based on plan because you know the end from the beginning. So you could tell we are to sow 200 quarrel for 200 choristers. It is so clear. You have the design of the rope, so you can plan that, okay, we need X number of yards for the of fabric. We need X number of buttons to design here, because you know the end. You have an image of what the end product will look like. So that is predictive. It's from the word predict. That is what sixth edition Pinbook is based on. Now, the exam is based on predictive, is based on adaptive, which is agile, and is based on hybrid, combination of predictive and adaptive. Okay, so if you focus entirely on Pinbook 6th edition, you may get it wrong. The 7th edition has provided a framework. So it is not in totality what the exam is about. So if you look at the content or what the resources that PMP is based on now, it's based on 10 books. I have a recording, a YouTube video on the books PMP is based on. So you may want to, I don't know whether it's on TikTok or YouTube, but I'm happy to share the link for you to watch. Yeah. So if you are preparing for PMP, you study PMBOK as a guide to know how you will conduct planning. But I'm sounding note of caution. I don't base everything on 6th edition, because the outlook of 6th edition is based on predictive. But now the exam is more than predictive, and it is more than. I have also realized that some people will base their training on the old format, where you do input, output, tools and techniques, and then they will go and look for something on agile, and they say you are ready. No, it's not the same, because everything you are going to do, planning, is looking at predictive, is looking at adaptive, is looking at hybrid. That is what the training is based on now. So if you go through a training that is still based on input, output, tools and techniques, which was before the exam changed on 2nd January 2021, you are not adequately prepared for the exam. Okay. The beauty of you going for training with ATP, authorized training partners, they will use the training slides PMI prepared, that is based on the PIN book and the other resources. Okay, and so they are better equipped. If you are here and you are preparing for exam, and the training you are using to prepare for the exam is based on inputs, outputs, these 48 processes, please, you are not properly prepared for the exam. You are not properly prepared for the exam. Okay, so that is the content or the resources that you need to. If some people want to buy books, I'm happy to share the list with you to buy them if you want to have them in your library. The next step is you should take a PMP prep course and simulated exam, and your best bet is to do that with ATP, authorized training partner. You see, I got certified 2011 and I was training since 2013, but I became authorized training instructor in 2023. What that means is you'll be certified, you apply to PMI, then they will train you to be able to train for the PMP. You will write exam. It is after you pass that you become authorized trainer. So it is not that because you have passed, then you start training. So that is the difference. Okay. And then you also need simulated exam. I can testify of the relevance of simulation because when I wrote my first PMP, I didn't do exam prep. I didn't use simulator and I failed. I'm not saying everyone who didn't use simulator or didn't do exam prep will fail, but doing using simulator and doing exam prep increases the probability of you passing the exam greatly. It does. See, because there's a way the answering the questions help align your thinking, your way of thinking, and the way of what you have learned. Okay, so I encourage you to find ATP and use simulator. It will be extra at extra cost. I know some people will go and search on Google and look for questions. From my perspective, they are not adequate. So for me, when you pay for training, you are paying for the tuition, you are paying for prep, and you are paying for the simulator. I don't give my students the option of saying no. As for me, I only want the training. As for me, it's a combined package that they are given. One of the things I've also realized that helped people that want to write the exam is to join study groups. So in my class, I pair people and call them buddies. I give some quizzes, and the buddies would work on it together to submit only one responses. It helps because you would have to meet whether virtually on call or in person to discuss and then rub minds. And then some people also have study groups, maybe 3 or 4 people studying together. I'm a Christian, so I will use Christian analogy. Bible says iron sharpeneth iron, so it helps. And you can get some of this forum on online. Okay, then the sixth point, develop a steady plan. Don't just be like leaf that wind is blowing. You need to have a steady plan. You need to create a schedule. You need to focus on weak areas. How will you know you have weak areas when you have not exhausted the topics or the content that you are supposed to study? So are you a morning person? Are you an evening person? Are you an afternoon person? Are you all day person? Some people can study any time of the day, it doesn't matter. My highest peak of studying is in the morning when I just wake up. If I'm unable to study early in the morning, I force myself to take a nap so that my brain can like have a reset, and I wake up immediately, I start studying. Because when you wake up, the first few hours, they are the peak. Your brain performs at the peak. So all these things are like strategy towards preparing for exam. So develop a steady plan and stick to it. So for those that are yet to start the journey, you apply for the exam. I've mentioned how you would apply for the exam. You go to pmi.org, you click on certifications. When you open pmi.org, you see the horizontal menu. You click on certifications. It's a drop down menu. Then you select, you see all the certifications, but you see PMP. You click on PMP, you select that. And then on the right, you see apply. Then you apply. If you are a member, it's advisable you log in so that it can recognize you. Because if you are a member of PMI Ghana or any of the chapters in Africa, and you are in Africa, okay, the PNP exam fee for you is $284, $284. If you are not a member of PMI, it's $570. If you are a member but you are not in Africa, you will pay $420. So, but if you're a member, you take advantage. Someone will ask me, how do I become a member? Is by paying your annual subscription fee of $144 online at pmi.org. Once the payment goes through, you become a member, and then you can enjoy the $284 for PMP exam fee. So that's how you apply. And so on the day of exam, you prepare. You need to understand the exam logistics. When I wrote my exam, it was 9:30 in the morning, and I received an email that I should not come late. And when I got there, I asked her what happened if I got here 30 minutes late. So they ask you to go home. That if you were going for a flight and the flight took off or the closed boarding, would you join the flight? So you need to understand the traffic or the timing that you've scheduled the exam. And you know the exam, you can write from your home or your office. But I always advise people, make sure that your internet is intact. It should not blink, because if it blinks, that is the end of the exam, whether you have done everything or you just did three questions. So I love passing that risk to the exam centers. Okay. There are some tips. The exam, you know, is 230 minutes. Don't panic, be calm, but manage your time. Be checking the time and be checking the number of completion. So with this, I have answered how to prepare for PMP exam, looking at it from the perspective of someone that is yet to start the journey, that's about to start the journey. When you look at PMP, this is the main reason why I am having this live. What is PMP testing? When you sit in a class and you are taught the six lessons, now we have six lessons: business environment, start project, plan projects, support team performance, you know, and you go through the six lessons, you need to be relating whatever you are learning into real practice. So if you spoke about conflict management, you need to be able to paint scenario that if you are leading a project team and there is a conflict, how do you go about it? If we spoke about servant leadership and we are saying servant leaders model the traits they want to see in others, what does that mean to me as a project manager or as a project leader? Because the exam will not ask you who is a servant leader, define project management, define projects. No, but it would paint a scenario and ask you what could have prevented this scenario, or what didn't the project manager do, or what did the project manager do to avoid. So you have to um, leave the questions, okay? And I also tell people, when you are answering the question, situate the question that, okay, one, is this question on predictive? Is this question on adaptive? Is this question on hybrid? If it is hybrid, it means it's going to have the traits of both predictive and adaptive in it. Is it talking about, is the question situated on business environment? Is the question situated on start the project? Because now start the project focuses on the first activity: identify and engage stakeholders. That is what is there. And then the second one is form the team. The third one is develop shared understanding. And then the fourth is determine the project approach, as in whether it's going to be predictive, adaptive, or hybrid. So when you see the question, all these four will run through your mind that, okay, what are we talking about before you now start looking at the options. And the more you practice questions, the faster it becomes for you to be able to process all these things and then narrow the answers. Also, look out for the two options that are outrightly wrong and knock them off. Then you will be left with two options, because often there will be two options that look so similar. So when people write exam and they come out and say, oh, in fact, in all the questions, there are like two answers, I just know that they've not prepared enough, because there will be something that will make one of those two options wrong. And then sometimes all the four options are right, but the scenario they painted would make one of the options most accurate out of the four. So you have to situate the questions, you have to know the context before you answer the question. And never assume. You read, there are three lines of question, then you, after reading the first line, you just jump to the options and say, this is the answer. There may be something in the third line or the second line that would change the understanding you had from the first line. So it's important you read the question from beginning to the end and then look at the options and knock out the two options that are outrightly wrong, and then you are left with two. And so you now you look at the two. And one of the things that I do is when I have two options and I'm still struggling to determine the one that is really, really right, I pick one out of the two and I mark review and I continue the exam. Because when you finish the exam, all the ones you have marked as review will come up, and then you will have the chance to look at them again and finally make up your mind that maybe this one that I've chosen is the right answer, or no, let me change you to the second one. So that's one of the strategies. So PMP exam test a candidate's conditions, your condition, competence in leading and directing projects, and ensures that they have the requisite experience. You have sent your project management work experience to PMI. So PMI is testing it, that you have experience, you have education, the 35 contact hour training, and that you understand best practices in project management. This is another area you have to be careful. Often, when people are answering questions, they unconsciously slip into how they manage projects in their organizations, forgetting that the way you manage projects in your organization, how you receive approval, is not standard. It may be working in your organization because that is what your management wants. However, PMI has its own standard and they expect you to follow that standard. So you need to unlearn what you do in your organization and learn the PMI's way, you know. So it's important you are intentional about it. For those who joined earlier, I had mentioned that now the exam is no longer testing what are the inputs for this process, what are the tools and techniques, what are the outputs. No, that ended 1st January 2021. Then from 2nd January 2022, this new format came out. So you have people that is now 42% of the exam. And under the people, these are the things, excuse me, these are the things you'll be tested on. Team building. This is where team formation comes in. So you remember the forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning. They are trying to see how you can manage project team. So when people are writing their project management work experience and they are talking about, I did this and I created this, it means you are working in silo. You are not working with people. So it's supposed to be, I worked with my team. I led my team to do this. They want to see teamwork, collaboration. They also want to see some form of conflict management, because under people, that is the expertise they expect you to have. Conflict management, you identifying, addressing, and resolving conflict within team, and you have ways of resolving conflict, which has changed a bit. So you need to know that leadership. This is where the servant leadership comes up. modeling what you want to see. And when you look at the new principles of project management for project practitioners, it says that you are a steward. You should respect your project team. That is what we want to see here. When we talk about leadership, you would demonstrate leadership and you would influence the project team and stakeholders. Then communication. We know that what you do as a project manager, it is predominantly communication. So one of the things that will be tested under people is how you ensure effective communication within your project team and with stakeholders. And then the last but not the least under people is motivation, how you motivate people. So under this, you would be looking at some motivational theories, okay, which you already know: theory X, Y, McGregor's theory, and McClelland's, yes. So all this will constitute 42% of the exam. The thing about the PMP exam, you must pass all the domains. You can't pass people and fail process, or pass process and fail people. You must pass all. So this is 42%. And the second one is the process that most of us are familiar with, because that's all we've known. You will see the scope here, you see budget here, you see schedule here. Now we don't say time management, we say schedule management. You see resources, and it's under resources you make the decision make or buy, and you see procurement under resources. That's where you see contract and the contract types. So you see planning, you see executing the project plans, you see integration, integrating all the plans, you see risk management, where you will identify, you will analyze, and come up with response to the risk that you have analyzed, and then you monitor them. Then you have the quality management, that you are focused on delivering the quality standard that you agree with the stakeholders. And then you have the integration that I've already mentioned. All this will constitute 50% of the exam. And then the last but not the least, business environment, which is 8% of the exam, is going to test your knowledge of strategic alignment. You may see a bit of portfolio management, you may see a bit of program management and project management. You will see compliance, you will see change management, you will see benefits realization. Previously, PMP focused on outputs. When you deliver on your deliverables, you are done. Now, you have to factor operations. So, whatever you are delivering, how it will be useful for the organization. And that is what we call the outcomes. So, the outcomes transcends output. Output is what you deliver at the end of the project. If your organization cannot derive value from the from the output, then they are not getting outcome. Then they are not getting value. Then the strategic positioning or value or goals of the organization will not be achieved. So now you need to factor operations in your plan. That is where you have training on how the operation or the different units or departments or functional units within your organization will be able to use the outputs to derive the outcome. So, and then PMI will test ethics and professional conduct. They want to know your understanding and the application of PMI school. I remember the first exam that I wrote that I failed. There was a question, and I think it comes up frequently, that if someone wrote PMP and you are preparing for the exam, and the person is telling you, and when I wrote the exam, I saw this question, what should you do? The option will be report to PMI, report the person to the person's boss, move away from the person, look at it. Oh, I thought, oh, I should not look at it, it's not right. Reporting the person to the person's superior will be like snitching. Oh, reporting the person to PMI will look like, because PMI will cancel the person's certificate. I said, me, I'll just move from the person. That was what I chose until I saw the simulator. You are to report to PMI, because if you reported the person to the person's boss, the person doesn't have any authority over the certificate or on PMP. But PMI has control and rights, and they can withhold, they can punish the person. You see, so that is what the simulator does. It helps realize. In fact, I say that it helps in baptizing you into the PMI or PMP's way of thinking. And of course, the PMP would examine the agile and hybrid approaches. So it is more than you doing the regular PMP training and then you now pick agile and then you look at it, because the agile will be standalone. You don't have the hybrid, and you don't see like comparing, because when you look at the training slides, you can open a slide that would we do like comparative analysis of these three life cycles. Okay, so the key competencies that you'll be tested on will be project integration management, scope management, schedule management, cost management, quality management, resource management, communications management. The moment you do the second lesson is start project, and that is where it starts with identifying your stakeholders, and there you will do your communication management, because you will identify your stakeholders, and your team members are equally the part of the stakeholders. Your team members, you would have created what we call team charter, and then the team charter, you would have spelled out how the team is going to relate, and in the same team charter, you are going to have the ground rules that will be applicable to everyone. In formulating the team charter, you have to do it with your team, and then you make references to it in resolving conflict and meet and how to hold meetings. It should be time boxed and all that. So you see that the communication management is not a standalone now. It is under uh, start projects, and it is looked at after you identify your stakeholders and you analyze the stakeholders and then you prioritize them. You come up with a communication plan, how you will be communicating with them, the frequency, and all that. And then you have the risk, which is very, very important: identifying risk, analyzing risk, coming up with response, how to handle the risk should they occur. you know so in conclusion, PMI exam is designed to validate. I have a short video that I spoke about what does PMP say about you. It validates that you understand project management principles, practices, and that you are capable of effectively managing projects in a professional setting. As you can manage people, you can manage processes, and you understand business environments. So it tests theoretical knowledge, it tests practical application of the knowledge, and it also prepare you to be able to handle real life or real world project management challenges. With this, I have come to the end of the points that I prepared. I'll be taking questions if you have any questions for me, um, or suggestions. So you can type it in the chat or unmute your mic to ask. Thank you. And if you are here, you are yet to be following Okin on YouTube, please just click on you are welcome to Okin. It will take you to the page, and please follow us. Thank you. Questions, suggestions, clarifications, or comments? Hello. Hey, is anyone home? Do you have any question to type? All right. So I'm assuming you don't have any question or suggestion or inquiry. So I would like to say thank you for making time to join the live session. I will be sharing the link of the recording with you. If you find it useful, you may want to share it with your friends and colleagues. And if you know anyone that wants to, um, thank you, Amma. Thank you. I'm also excited to have you in my class. Thank you. If you know anyone that is interested in writing PMP, please you can direct the person to me. Thank you. Enjoy your evening and God bless you. Bye.